thank you for joining us. My name is Kathy Moore, and I'm the manager at the Travel Group. Today, we're presenting G Adventures, and we should be 30 or 40 minutes maximum. This is a Zoom webinar and not a Zoom meeting, so you're not visible and you can't be heard. Things may even run smoother if you turn your video and your microphone off, so there's no communication going on. Last year, the Travel Group and Travel Concepts decided to join forces. We've been working closely for 4 or 5 years, and the time was right to streamline. We're lucky and grateful for the strong team that has worked at the Travel Group for many years, and the opportunity to work more closely with Travel Concepts professionals has been a positive highlight in a very dark time. I'd like to take a minute to acknowledge some of the travel specialists here watching us today. Cindy Horton is here, Ellie Hender, David Elmy, Laura Mezzacapo, Martha Williams, Tara Matilda, Mackenzie McMillan, David Powell, Julia Guest, Julie Unruh, Jenny Carmali, Debbie Gambling, Hannah Sorensen, and Karen Dick. That's quite proud, eh? Also here managing the technical side of the Zoom is Colleen Maxwell. If you've ever called our office, you've probably talked to her. Colleen's a G fan and loves to tell stories of riding a camel out to sleep in the Sahara or doing yoga on a surfboard in Costa Rica, both with G Adventures. When we were planning these presentations, we wanted to focus on companies that we were the most happy to recommend. G Adventures was an obvious choice, a Canadian company with purpose, originally called GAP. They offered the off the beaten path travel for young adults. Over 30 years later, they are a leader in small group adventures for all ages. It's my pleasure to introduce Erin Rogers, G Adventures Global Purpose Specialist in Western Canada. Erin recently celebrated 15 years with G and has traveled to 7 continents. Highlights of her travels include skydiving in New Zealand, rafting the source of the Nile in Uganda, surfing in Nicaragua, and trekking the glacier in her favorite country, Iceland. Welcome, Erin.
Thanks so much, Kathy. Wow, I sound really adventurous. I miss travel. So I'm going to take it away from here. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone. And I am going to transition over into my slideshow here. So thanks again for having me. I've so excited to present to you and really excited to be presenting on behalf of the Travel Group and Travel Concepts. A lot of their agents have traveled with us. So definitely the best resource to communicate your interest in travel after the presentation this evening. So now book your bubble, what we're going to talk about tonight. But first off, I want to introduce you to G Adventures and let you know what it is that we do. So at G Adventures, we like to get off the beaten path. We are experienced in small group adventure travel. So we put together groups of like-minded travelers from all over the globe to go off and explore together. We're a Canadian company, but we have offices located all over the globe. Now, we also on our tours like to make sure that you get up close and personal. So we do that with having a local guide join you. We stay in locally owned properties and we travel around using some local transportation. So you get that real kind of grassroots feeling when you're traveling on a G Adventures tour. We like to get local and meet the locals. In addition to having just the local guide with us, we're meeting the locals. This is actually a photo from one of the programs that we support in Tanzania, whereby each one of our tour itineraries gets to visit this little village called Mtoa Mabu in Tanzania, just south or about 300 kilometers away from Arusha. And through the visit to this village, we're helping to fund these clean cook stoves, which is the shiny chimney you see popping out of that traditional boma or hut. Now, we do that by having our travelers go into the village to take a tour, and the funds raised by that are going back into the community to help with education, sanitation, and providing these cook stoves. So we also like you to get a little bit lost when you go on tour with us, but of course not too lost because that would be challenging for us as the tour operator hosting you. What that means is that you can travel in the confines of a group knowing that your health and safety is taken care of by us, G Adventures, and your guide and our local teams in destination. Community tourism is really important to us. So through all the programs that we operate, we have over 600 itineraries all around the globe. Through these programs, we're continually working to support more and more of the local communities. The example that I've included today is one of the villages that we visit in northern Thailand, whereby if you're doing any trekking in northern Thailand with G Adventures, we're going to steer you kind of a little bit off that beaten trodden tourist path and show you some of the places that you wouldn't even think to visit. Meeting some of these locals, we do some homestays when it's safe, of course, and it's a really incredible memory for you to return home with. Now on our tours, we don't charge any single supplements, and that means solo travelers are able to travel with us. You get to go solo, but you're never really alone. We do have a program called My Own Room. So if you're a solo traveler and you don't like to share, it's totally fine. You can pay a little bit more to guarantee that you have your own room. A big part of our business is made up of the solo female travel market. So lots of solos traveling with us, females and males, of course, knowing that it's not going to cost you anymore. You get that companionship of traveling with other people. And we understand not everyone has a travel buddy that wants to go to the same places that they do. So this really opens up the world a bit more to those of you who have really kind of unique travel destinations on your personal travel wish list. Now, one of the programs that's really important in these times is the lifetime deposit program that we have at G Adventures. So when you're booking a tour with G, the deposit stays on file for you. So you're committing to the deposit with your travel agents, and that deposit is there forever. So if something comes up and you need to change your travel plans, you are able to do that without incurring any penalties. And that allows you to reschedule your tour, to renegotiate, renavigate your itinerary to go to where you want to go. Now, the great things about travel is that, of course, you get to see these beautiful visuals and you really get to picture yourself here. So in this destination, in this part of the world, can you imagine visiting this beautiful monastery at Petra in Jordan with a small group? What we're talking about today is our small group experiences, whereby you are building yourself a group of travelers to go with. So the whole idea of Book Your Bubble is really based on some of the terminology that we've been using in these COVID times. So talking about kind of keeping your bubble small, we wanted to create a program that allowed our audience to pick who you want to travel with. So we've created Book Your Bubble. So what that really means to you is that you can craft a group of your liking. So think friends and family, think maybe your kind of work colleagues if you want to travel with them, extended network, whatever it looks like to you. People that maybe have all the same interests as you. If you get together a group of 8, we can offer some really great booking incentives, including the 8th person at 50% off or the 12th person for free. Or if you're a really close-knit group, then you can share that discount amongst everyone. So completely up to you. So what I'm going to do today is present on some of these really special destinations. So some of the ones that we wanted to highlight for the Book Your Bubble, there's 80 tours in this collection. Costa Rica is a really, very, very popular tour destination for our audience and definitely for the Canadian travelers. Costa Rica is a place that you may have been before, but you probably haven't seen it the way that we travel at G Adventures. So our Costa Rica Quest is the first tour that I wanted to highlight on this presentation. This is a 9-day package, and that one's out of San Jose in Costa Rica. This program is so popular. We've been running the same tour for probably 15 plus years, and it's got a really nice mix of a little bit of beach time, a little bit of jungle time, a little bit of kind of volcano time. There's wildlife in lots of monkeys and hummingbirds and bird life to see. There's active exploits, so you could go biking, you could go paddleboarding, you could go horseback riding, kayaking. There's an opportunity to do some like boogie boarding or swimming if you want, or you could just take it all in. One of the greatest things about our style of travel is that we always build in fun, freedom, and flexibility. So fun because it's travel and it's your holiday. Freedom means that we're building in a little bit of free time in some of the days, so you can pick and choose what you want to do in destination. And flexibility, so we include a lot of the key elements, but not everything. So again, you get to pick and choose, like a choose your own adventure. What you do get in a G Adventures program is all of the accommodation, all of the transportation, the knowledge of the local CEO, the resources of our global operations team, and really the opportunity to travel to some of the most beautiful destinations on the planet. What is included in this tour is a lot, actually. So we start and end in San Jose. We travel up to a little area that we visit, the Mi Cafecito Coffee Cooperative. I said it like a Boston person, coffee cooperative. Now, in this area, it's really important to G Adventures because that turbocharges our global teams with caffeine, but it's also important because it helps to raise or offer income, I guess, not raise money, offer income for over 200 farming families in the area. Pretty amazing. So we go in, we do a coffee tour, we do some tastings, we learn kind of from field to production, what's involved in it, and it's a great spot to buy souvenirs. In La Fortuna, we are visiting the volcano area. There's opportunities for hiking, mountain biking, horseback riding here. There's also hot springs in the area. In Monteverde, we get into some of the cloud forests for some nature walks, some jungle time and relaxation. And then down on the beach in Capo San Antonio, it's nice and relaxing. So sunshine, beach time, and maybe try your hand at boogie boarding. So how it works with the Book Your Bubble, again, is that if you have a group of 8, you are welcome to run this as your own private tour. If you are not interested in having your own bubble, then of course we have existing departure dates that you can connect with your travel agent to learn a little bit more about. The benefit of booking your bubble, of course, is those additional incentives and controlling who's traveling with you on the tour. Another one that is a big destination for our G Adventures enthusiasts is Peru. We're the biggest tour operator in Peru. In fact, on a normal year, we would send about 20,000 people on tour in Peru. So 1 in every 3 people hiking the Inca Trail is doing it with G Adventures. And of course, they're doing that hiking to get to see Machu Picchu, one of the most magnificent UNESCO World Heritage Sites there is on the planet. Amazon to the Andes is one of the tours I wanted to feature tonight. This is the tour that I did years ago, and it's tried and trusted. It's an absolute favorite of our travelers, and I will tell you why. On this particular tour, we've got kind of 3 main areas that are covered. So Lima and the coast, where you start, Cusco and the Andes Mountains, where you hike along the Inca Trail to Machu Picchu. Machu Picchu, of course, for the history. We visit a G for Good program, which is the Kakakolo Women's Weaving Project, where you get to learn, you get to meet llamas and take selfies, which is amazing, but you also get to learn about the traditions of weaving in the area. The Inca Trail is fully supported. It's 3 nights camping. We've got porters to carry all your gear. We actually just ran a Inca Trail trial trip in January to make sure our health and safety processes are up to par, and the government of Peru actually invited us down there to make sure that we were able to help with the return to travel, and the experience was just amazing for everyone involved. Getting to the end of the Inca Trail, of course, you get to see Machu Picchu, which was found in officially found by Westerners in 1911. It's one of the only sites of the Incas that wasn't destroyed by the Spanish conquistadors. So pretty magical place. They still to date don't know kind of all the exact details about it. So it's really mysterious too. And it all pops out of the clouds when you get there at sunrise. It's just a beautiful, beautiful place to see. After that, we go into the jungle. So that's the 3rd region. So you've got the coast, the Andes, the jungle. And in the jungle, we are exploring with one of our naturalist guides. So connecting with someone from that area to learn all about the wildlife. And we're staying in this really cool off-grid property that is run on generators. It's these cute little, I don't want to call them huts because they're much fancier than that, cute jungle lodge property where we do morning, afternoon, and evening walks. And perhaps even like canoe rides to see the wildlife in the surrounding jungle. So really nice itinerary at 12 days in Peru. And again, you could organize your own group of travelers and friends and to go on that experience. I actually just had a request for this to celebrate someone's 60th birthday, which I think is phenomenal because we've all had at least one COVID birthday and they're not so great. I'm coming up on my second COVID birthday in a couple of weeks, and the idea of getting a group of my friends together to celebrate if I had a big birthday coming up just sounds pretty dreamy right about now. And on that note, in South America, one of the great things to do if you're heading all the way to Peru is to add on. So we operate 3 different vessels at G Adventures that will allow you to explore the Galapagos Islands. So a lot of our clients, when they're booking through their agents, they are looking to do both of these destinations at once. So Peru and Galapagos as a combination is super popular. So much so that we have negotiated really great rates on the flight in between those 2 countries, and we can even offer that complimentary. So if you are thinking about Peru, definitely tune into some of the Galapagos programs that we have to offer. These particular vessels hold a maximum of 16. So I mean, if you do have a group of 16 that you're interested in traveling with, we could do a private charter for you, or you could book into existing space that we have on any one of our 3 boats. The Yolita is the most popular of the 3. So we've got the Eden, which is like a tourist class vessel, the Yolita, which is upgraded, and then we have the Reina Silvia Voyager, which is a catamaran style. So make sure to check in with your travel agent for details on those options. The next destination I wanted to talk about is one that we seem to get a lot of Canadians interested in right now, and that's Egypt. Egypt is one of those places that it's a really great idea to go when it's not super busy, because of course you get these incredible experiences to yourself. We've actually restarted our Egypt tours as of a couple of weeks ago. So we are currently welcoming some travelers into Egypt. The very first ones that ran, we're so excited to be there. And of course, our guides are amazing. So they're thrilled to have some of our travelers back there. But a big bucket list, again, for a lot of travelers. This is our Egypt upgraded. The designation plus at the end of this means that it is operating in 2021. We also have this tour available for 2022. For 2021, the group size is going to be a little bit smaller than normal, and we made some tweaks on the itinerary to make it a little bit more, let's say, COVID friendly. So what that means is that we have designated seating on all of the vehicles for our travelers. We have social distancing in place, and anyone, of course, that's traveling this year is going to need to mask up as per our local public health authorities. But the tour itself, big bucket, I mentioned it's 12 days out of Cairo, and this is where you get to go. So we start and end in Cairo. We go into Alexandria on the coast, beautiful little bit of beach time and history here. The flights are included when you're looking at these maps, so you don't need to spend any more money on those. We go into Aswan, out to Abu Simbel. We jump onto a 3 nights on a luxury Nile cruise that goes all the way to Luxor. It's on the Princess 3 ship. Really beautiful experience, something different. I love the different ways that we get around in some of our tours. So we like to keep it super local and mix it up. And then from there, we go back to Cairo, of course, to see the pyramids and all that Cairo has to offer for our traveling audience. So the popularity of Egypt is always going to be there, and the time to get organized to go on a tour like this is soon. You know, all of these tours that I'm mentioning now are available with full travel dates right out until the end of 2022. So nice to have something kind of on your radar for what is sure going to be, well, it has been a long time probably since you've been on any kind of an amazing holiday. So nice to have something like really exciting to be looking forward to for next year. Now, East Africa, another wish list for a lot of our audience. This is where you go on safari, of course. If you haven't been to Africa, this has got to be the first stop for you, for sure. What I want to share with you tonight is one from our National Geographic Journeys collection. So we partnered with National Geographic about now 6 years ago, 7 years ago maybe, to create a line of tours that are built by G Adventures in cooperation with National Geographic head office out of Washington, DC. We found that we aligned on a lot of our values in kind of how we like to show people the world. So there's a lot of synergy between our two brands. Now, what you'll find in any of the National Geographic Journeys collection is that they are a little bit upgraded from what we normally do at G Adventures. So on a regular tour with G Adventures, accommodations are probably around like 3-star if you can think in hotel ratings. But for National Geographic, these are upgraded to about 4-star. We've also added more inclusions. There's a bit more focus on history and culture in these tours. So I don't want to sell it like it's a museum tour, because that's definitely not what it is, because it's still fun, flexible, and free. Well, not free, full of freedom. But these tours have like just a little bit different caliber of experiences. The tour that I wanted to feature tonight is actually really special. So this isn't part of kind of our Book Your Bubble collection, but its group size is 6. So if there's 6 of you that want to go on a really awesome, amazing safari in East Africa, then that's your group size, which is incredible to think about. If there's a bigger group than that, so say you have 12, then one of that 12 will get to go for free if you guys are doing this as a private group with us. So just something to keep in mind if you've always wanted to go to Africa and you've been saving your pennies over the last little while and you really want to have an amazing experience. So this is our safari in Kenya and Tanzania. It's 2 weeks, 1 week basically in Kenya, 1 week in Arusha, and it is all about the animals. The properties that we're staying at on the tour are stunning, and I have a shot to show you what I'm talking about with those. But first, want to share with you kind of where we're going, what we're doing, what's included. So with this particular tour, I was mentioning that we do a little bit more educational component to our National Geographic tours. So on this one, we have a Kenya Wildlife Service conservation talk at Lake Nakuru National Park. So in advance of going on safari, we are meeting with someone from their conservation team to talk to us about what we're going to see, what the wildlife is all about, answer any questions, and then likely to join us on that safari. We do something similar in the Serengeti in Tanzania, where we have a wildlife research center lecture in the Serengeti National Park. On this particular tour, we also, we do visit that Clean Cook Stoves project that I mentioned at the start, that's in Tanzania. We visit Lake Naivasha and the Masai Mara in Kenya. And then down in the Tanzania, we're getting into the Olduvai Gorge, so the cradle of humankind. The Ngorongoro crater, which is excellent for wildlife viewing. They have an incredible high concentration of mammals in the Ngorongoro, including about quite a few lions and like big cats in this area. The Ngorongoro usually has a water source in it, so you find like elephants and wildebeest and zebras and the antelope species are all migrating to this area. And whenever those animals migrate, you find also the ones that want to have them for dinner follow. So a really great opportunity to see rhinos and hippos also in the Ngorongoro. And then in addition, we get into Lake Manyara National Park. So lots of safari on this, a little bit of culture by visiting the village. We're staying in hotels for 4 nights and safari lodges for 4 nights, and then comfortable tented camps for 5 nights. And this tour includes a ton of meals because you're in these really remote areas, of course. So for most of our tours, if you haven't had the chance to travel with G Adventures, we have super flexibility in place. So if you're in remote areas, we're going to include those meals. If you're in more of a kind of urban setting, our guides are going to offer you guys options and like see where everyone's at. Some people love to eat like street food in Thailand. Other people are not interested. So we give a variety of options, and then the guide usually organizes where people are going for dinner. East Africa is a little different because you're mostly dining on site. So with this particular tour, most of the meals are included. And I just have to share with you this amazing photo of one of the camps that we're staying at. So if you've watched any of those Nat Geo programs on TV where they're kind of on safari, staying at a safari tent, or it's even probably in lots of movies, this is exactly what the experience is like. So this is the Kilma camp in the Masai Mara, and it's something like just out of almost like Indiana Jones or something. You know, it's a beautiful experience and a really great way to see this part of the world. Another way to explore and book your own bubble is by doing one of our sailing tours. So if you are interested in sailing, we have a really great fleet of sailboats that are based in Europe. We also have sailing based in the Caribbean and in Asia. But the one I want to tell you about tonight is in Greece, because Greece is just one of those destinations that I mean, you kind of just close your eyes and want to teleport there. I keep thinking of octopus and ouzo and eating like Greek salads and just an amazing break from life, I guess, break from reality. Now, our sailing programs in Greece, we have 5 different yachts. They all have this G pirate flag that you might have noticed in the top of your screen. These are traditional sailboats. So 8 people max on these. We have a skipper who also works as your tour guide or CEO, and they're there to manage the ship, to organize the navigation, but also to organize any activities that you might want to do from destination to destination. So the ships that we operate are 15 meters or 52 feet, if you speak in feet. We've got time for hiking, snorkeling, relaxing on board. We are we open, how do we say this? There's a BYOB policy. So I don't want to say open bar because it's not really open bar, but it is a sailboat. So if you want to bring snacks on board, you're most welcome to do that. If you want to bring ouzo on board, that's also welcome, of course. Meals on this are taken on the island. So we don't do any preparation on the actual ship. So often breakfast, lunch, and dinner off at these different islands, or you can pack stuff on board and make your own lunches, completely flexible. This would be amazing as a private group. So just 8 people required to make this one a private group. This is one of our most popular itineraries. It's Santorini Loop. So we're going through the Cyclades Islands. You'll notice that although it's a 10-day tour, we don't have 9 dots on there indicating overnights. That's because we're not always docking in port. Sometimes we're anchoring out. And the itinerary includes lots of flexibility so that the skipper slash CEO slash your local expert is able to move the ship according to the wind. So it's a really interesting way to travel because we don't have a really rigid schedule other than the fact that we need to get back to Santorini, of course, at the end of the tour. So we include 9 nights on the ship. It's a fully licensed skipper, of course. There's snorkeling equipment, and then the accommodations on board are a sailboat accommodation. So just want to be real upfront about that. The way that we've designed the ship, or they've designed the ship, I guess not me, is that there are 2 cabins at the front with bunks, 2 cabins in the back that have a double or queen in them. There's 3 washrooms on board, so great for group because it is a small space. But this would be such a fun itinerary and an amazing trip if you're celebrating anything or if you just want a friend's getaway. This tour is just an absolute gem and guaranteed fun in Greece with our skippers team. Next destination I wanted to mention is Indonesia. Of course, I think we all want to just close our eyes and teleport away to the beach. And this is another one of those great spots to visit. The itinerary that we've included tonight is our classic Bali and Lombok. So this is also available to book your bubble. So again, if you have 8 or more travelers, we can do this as a private group for you. If you're interested in traveling like as a solo traveler, we have a ton of different departures available of all of these tours. This one is 14 days out of Sanur. It's a really great agenda to kind of snorkel the warm waters, but there's also a splash of culture in here too. So getting into floating palaces and temples. It's a combination of both Bali and Lombok, pardon me. The hotels that we're using are that standard level, so around 3-star. Lots of them have like such great food on site. Our guides are amazing at showcasing the local cuisine, so they'll take you to their favorite places. Ayurvedic medicine is available all throughout, so this is kind of like a spa trip if you're interested in trying out any of the Ayurvedic medicine available. We have a community training lunch program that we support in Ubud, where we visit as part of our G for Good itinerary. We are doing a hot springs visit in Kintamani. We have some beach time in Candidasa. We go into the UNESCO protected rice terraces. We're getting to see Mount Batur. We have local Indonesian meal experience where we're connecting with a local host. We've got snorkeling, there's swimming, there's beach time, there's trekking, you can rent bikes, and the accommodations are included in hotels and guest houses. So we've got all your breakfast covered with this, and it's very inexpensive to eat out in Indonesia. I was talking to my colleague earlier today about gado-gado, which is like a peanut-based vegetarian tofu dish, which probably doesn't sound delicious to most everyone, but it's incredible. And if you've ever had the chance to try nasi goreng or any of the there's a laksa Singapore, no, it's a noodle laksa dish that I love from Indonesia, not Singapore one, that's amazing too. So great kind of getaway place if you want to go somewhere beachy that's a little different than your traditional Mexico or Caribbean or Hawaiian beach vacation. It's actually probably less expensive, to be honest, to go spend 2 weeks in Bali than it is to spend 1 week in Hawaii. So something to consider when you're connecting with your travel agent after the presentation. The last destination I wanted to include is in every single presentation I do. It's not officially part of our Book Your Bubble collection, but it's one that should be on your bucket list. It's Antarctica. It's the most remote place that you can get to with no human population. So we're getting lots of bookings for 2022 and 2023 for Antarctica, as people kind of rejig their travel wish list and think about the place that they most want to go. It's always pretty funny talking to Canadians about cold destinations, but it's actually not that cold in Canada this winter. And Antarctica temperatures usually range between like -2 and +2, which is definitely a climate that we are all fully equipped to experience. The Antarctica Classic is our most popular way to see Antarctica. This one leaves from southern Argentina out of Ushuaia. You're on our G expedition ship, which holds 134. We have quad cabins, so if you want to make it inexpensive, you can share a quad cabin. If you're a solo traveler, you'll be matched up with other travelers of the same gender to share, or you could get 3 other friends and share a cabin. You travel across the Drake Passage, and then once you're in Antarctica, you're exploring with our expedition guides by Zodiac, getting out to see icebergs, and then walking on the Antarctic continent with penguins. If it's not on your wish list yet, it should be. It's such a cool spot to go and really different than anywhere else that you've ever been. Now, with G Adventures, I mentioned earlier, we partnered with National Geographic. So we have our National Geographic Journeys collection, where you'll find a collection of 80 different itineraries, a little bit upgraded in accommodation, a little bit more focused on historical content and cultural content once you're in destination. As part of this, we've also expanded to offer National Geographic family tours. So we have a collection of 10 Nat Geo family tours. These are great if you want to travel with kids or your grandkids. And if you want to get your extended family together, we can always make one of these into a private group experience for you. We know there's a lot of families that haven't seen each other over the past 12 months. So maybe this is something to think about for getting back together to connect with those people that haven't been in your immediate bubble. One of our other partners is one of my favorite humans, and that's Dr. Jane Goodall. So she's endorsed us for our wildlife policy, and she has handpicked a collection of 20 itineraries that are published as the Jane Goodall collection. So if you're interested in wildlife, make sure to ask your travel agent about the Jane Goodall collection by G Adventures. Now, one thing I do want to mention is in regards to health and safety, of course, because at G Adventures, we want you to know that we are going to take care of you from start to finish when you travel. So from before you join us to when you arrive, while you're on tour, and then before you go home, we are managing your health and safety. So we put into place a new travel with confidence policy just to make sure that everything is up to par. And that was given the safe travel stamp by the World Travel and Tourism Council. So this assures that we've implemented these health and hygiene protocols in line with the new requirements due to the current situation with COVID-19. So if you're interested in any of these options to book your own bubble, or if you want brochures, we have online brochures available, and we have printed brochures also that have just been released this month. So connect with your travel agent for access to this to learn a little bit more about what we do at G Adventures. So thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. I really appreciate everyone's enthusiasm for this kind of travel experience, and hopefully you've seen something that you might like, and you can connect to kind of carry on the conversation with the team of travel agents that are here today.
Thank you, Erin. That was lovely. And thank you, everyone who joined us. We are all travelers, and when you want to talk and dream about your next adventure, we'd love to do it with you. So until then, good evening, bonsoir.